Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 4 of the Australian Endurance eChampionship. I am Stuart Brown. I am your commentator for this evening as we head to the home of British motorsport, Silverstone, for this round. If last round was anything to go by, we are in for quite the spectacle. For those of you that didn't tune in, we had basically an hour and a half of bumper-to-nose racing between Chris Purnell and Jesse Butler at the Catalunya racetrack, and it was extremely close for that first hour and a half of that race. And an unfortunate incident at about an hour and a half affecting Chris Purnell's run. So with a couple of returns, we had a few out last week. The grid is full. We've got 22 cars on tonight. A number of GT3 drivers joining in as well. We welcome back Braden Nash in one of the two Porsches, and he will be quick at the moment, leading the qualifying. We've got about 11 minutes of qualifying to go, so be interesting to see how he can fare with coming back after a week off. We also welcome back to the series Reese Ashmore, who has had an extended out as well. So tonight is his second race, missing round 2 and round 3. And a number of other drivers joining the scene as well. Murray Westberg, he was first last week in the GT3 in his Ferrari in his first outing, so he'll be one to watch again. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the new drivers fit in. Obviously, not having raced with the group before, just to see where they sit in the class. A fast time around here, look, we're seeing low 157s in the GTE class. GT3s around about 4 seconds a lap slower, so about standard there. Championship standings at the moment, we've got Chris Purnell on top with Jesse Butler in second and Braden Nash in third in the GTE class. Brad Klink taking the GT3 top podium at the moment with Dave Johnson in second. And I believe we have got Jack in third. Just trying to see what's going on here with the live timing. I know, there we go, it has finally refreshed. So we're working again tonight with our awesome streaming partners. So we have Aftershock, Your Rig, Your Choice as our official computer and PC partner. We are customers of theirs. They are a friend of the show, and certainly will help you if you're looking to get into iRacing, to have a PC or any gaming of that sort. To be honest, to get a PC up and running, that will get you sorted and get you in. Or if you're looking to do an upgrade, then definitely the place to go. A local Australian company, so duck out and see the guys there, or duck online and have a look at what they've got to offer, and get something to get yourself involved. Simrigs.com, if you're looking to get in as well, they will sort you out with all the other hardware that you need, from rigs to pedals to steering wheels and the like. So hit them up for anything else you might need to get yourself effectively in the driver's seat. We are a Razer streaming partner, so hashtag Razer Streamer. I use a Razer Streamer headset for this broadcast and have used their products for a number of years, so jump on board with them. And of course, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, Chris Purnell, one of our drivers in the series, or actually the leader of the GTE series, heads up that business. So if you are looking to go faster, as they say, all the champions get coached, and Chris certainly has helped some of our drivers in this field go faster, and has trained me as well, but that's probably not something that I should be announcing, given where I currently sit in my own racing. But only place to go is upwards. You are watching a Ferguson Group Media eCast production. Do like our socials. If you're watching on Twitch, we would absolutely love it if you could hit a follow, hit the notification button. Same on Facebook, as we do try and grow our audience across those two platforms. Best place to catch up on other series that we will be putting on and what is going on in our world is certainly Facebook, where we're most active, but we are active across all of the socials. We will be on tomorrow night doing something a little bit different, a little bit of retro gaming Friday night with some NBA Jam on the Super Nintendo. So if that is your flavour, do tune in and have a look at us. Probably make fools of ourselves as we manage to not win a game. Also running in the, or broadcasting the Spa 24-hour race coming up, starting next Saturday at 11 o'clock Australian Eastern. We will be running our Team 981 Motorsport in that event, so look out for our 24-hour stream there. You'll be able to watch live from outside the car, and there'll be a little bit of in-car stuff, and we'll muck around when I'm not driving. I am actually racing in that one. We're taking the Audi R8, which has just come up on your screen, around for 24 hours at Spa, so that's going to be a challenge and our first endurance event as a team. Alright, enough about us. What's going on with the qualifying here? So we've got 6 minutes to go. For those of you who have only just joined us for the first time, we run a split grid system in this category. So we have the GTEs separate to the GT3s on the grid. So there will be two separate grids as such. They all form up at the same time. GTEs head off first. We do a rolling start, followed by the GT3s, and the GT3s generally start around 5 seconds later, and Chris Purnell's going to not be happy at all with that. That has wrecked his final qualifying, so that's unfortunate there for him. He will probably still get out to do his last 2 laps. So we do run an open qualifying here. We try and keep things as realistic as we can. So all the cars out on track at the same time, and they will be trying to get themselves into a gap within the field that will allow them to run their warm-up lap or their first out lap, and then get straight into that flying lap to try and take out the pole position for this one. So at the moment, we've got Brad Klink on screen, who is the leader of our GT3 category, sponsored by Bow Repairs as part of Redback Racing Team. So well done, Bow Repairs, for jumping on board with the Redback race team there and offering some support. Matthew Dowse there in the all-black Ferrari. Matt's new tonight. He is joining us. We'll be running in the Enduros as well, which are coming up in a couple of weeks. We are having our last 2 rounds of this season as 4-hour team-based endurance events at Bathurst and at the Nürburgring. So they're coming up on a Saturday afternoon in a couple of weeks after we head to Spa next week. It is a little bit out there, Pato. We're running this one a little late on, so I'm surprised that it's slippery. This race will actually probably finish in the dark, so we're certainly doing. Oh, actually, no, this is a dawn race. Sorry, my apologies. So yeah, it's the track will heat up and there'll be a little bit more grip off it out there, but. So yeah, so that's where we're heading to. At the moment, we've got Braden Nash, who is on screen, who is leading the qualifying at the moment. He's done a minute 57.19. We'll just jump on board with him at the moment to see if he improves on that fastest lap. He does a 156.27. Chasing him down is Jesse Butler in the other Porsche, our race winner from last week. Jesse drove an absolutely amazing race, and he's very much proof that you don't need to spend $1 million in this sport to do well. Jesse literally races at his desk, upright, with a single monitor with his steering wheel and pedals. Steering wheel just bolted to the desk, so he's extremely talented and extremely quick. So he's just pulled out of that lap. Obviously, it hasn't gone to plan. Chris Purnell here, he's done a sector best, second sector. Just looking to drop down. He's about a second off pole position at this point in time. But remember, pole position, obviously really important, certainly from a bragging rights perspective. But when you get into these endurance races, it's all about getting out cleanly at a start and then managing your race. So these guys will certainly make one pit stop tonight. They're probably going to look to end up making 2 pit stops, I imagine. Fuel window on this one, look, just before the hour mark, maybe just after the hour mark if the guys manage their fuel correctly. So we should see 1 stop, I think, from everyone, maybe 2 stops if they go a little bit hard or don't potentially manage the fuel window just to get to that hour mark. Get to the hour mark and you're home free unless your tyres start to go off or something like that. So all the drivers will take 4 tyres, take anywhere between around about 90 to 100 litres of fuel on each of these cars, and then they'll be back out. iRacing did put out an update on us again just yesterday morning. It came out Australian time, which lowered the weight or the overall weight of a couple of these cars, and also changed the minimum ride height. So a lot of these guys spend a lot of time setting up their vehicles every week, and in doing that they adjust ride heights and cambers and tows and all that sort of stuff to really try and maximize the performance of the cars and to also maximize the wear life of the tyre. So in doing that, any change that happen after they start doing their testing on, let's say, tomorrow night, because we broadcast on a Thursday night, then that can really affect them, and they may not have enough time to reset the car back up with the changes that are being made. So be cool to see how these guys go managing those changes to their vehicles from the change that were implemented overnight. I know it made changes to the Audi R8 because that's what we're doing a lot of our testing in at 981 Motorsport. So yeah, those Audi guys and the GT3s might be a little more affected. So Purnell's just coming across and finishing his lap there. He has not improved on his third place at the moment. We'll just have a quick look through here and see if there's anyone on a flyer. Yep, Matt O'Grady has pulled out of that lap. He was on a fast one. What else we got? So he's sitting in pit lane. So no one in the GT3s out at the moment, interestingly enough. We'll jump on board with Jaden Sweeney, who has suffered a little bit for internet issues in a couple of the rounds, but hopefully has got them all sorted out tonight and will feature in this race. He is getting ever quicker, and I expect he will do a good job tonight in that M8 BMW. The tank, Big Bertha, certainly the widest car on the track by some stretch of the imagination. So he's currently sitting in 7th and is on a flying lap. So we'll just stick with him, see if he can improve on his 1:59.1. I know he's a little bit hamstrung for testing this week, Jaden, as he prepares for the Spa 24-hour as well. So we've done him a little bit of a favour here with the next week. Chris Purnell still on a flying lap as well, just to see if he can get there. Jesse Butler has just improved his time to a 1:57.23. So he is at the moment sitting in 2nd. So this lap by Purnell is it if he can take out pole and influence the result here. Brett Douglas also on a flying lap, the sister car to this one. It's going to be interesting. These GTE cars, the GT in particular, as Purnell comes around to finish his lap. Fastest last sector for him, but no improvement there, unfortunately, for him. So Jesse Butler just finishes there with a 1:57 flat behind him. Well, get ready, folks. This one, I have a feeling, is going to blast off. Jesse wasn't around. Jesse was around last week, but Braden wasn't in the other Porsche. Ron Polito is quick and consistent too. So we've got just under half a second covering the first 3 cars. We will bring you the grid as it ticks over. So I think that it's going to be on. It's going to be a really, really close start to this race, and it could well be that we're on again for another sprint race for the entirety of this. So we've still got one car coming through there. The timing screens didn't pick that up. Just wait for it to roll over and we'll pick up the grid. So yeah, 22 cars running tonight, and there is a fair few more GT3s tonight than last week, which is great to see. We are still taking applications for this category. We are going to be running a second season. It's been well supported, which we're very thankful for as we continue to grow our stream and our channel. So if you are interested in joining, certainly hit us up on fgmecast.com and we can hopefully help you join our ranks. Just waiting for this to tick over to grid. Still empty there as we're just counting down to changeover. We've got a really cool second camera to bring you tonight as well, which we did show you last week. We've got some extra changes coming to it that we just couldn't quite get across the line for tonight's stream, but there's going to be some cool stuff coming up with that as well. Just waiting for the session to tick over here. It's taking a little bit longer than normal. So we've got a second camera so we can bring you the nose to tail action of some of our closer gigs, and we've also got the overlay that we use is going to be coming onto that as well. So it's going to be cool once we can get that up and running so you guys can see everything that there is to see. All right, here we go. Finally, we're up and running. We'll just get rid of that thing across the top of the screen there so you can actually see what's going on. All right, so we've got Braden Nash, Jesse Butler, Purnell, Polito, Douglas, Thomas Even, my apologies, Sweeney, Reynolds, Phil Polito, and Reece Ashmore rounding out the GTE qualifying from 1st to 10th on the grid. Followed by the GT3 category. So Brad Klink taking pole there with Sebastian Murray Westbeck or MW taking the second place in the GTE category. Just scroll this through here a little bit and you can see TK, as we love to call him, our Kiwi participant, sitting there in 3rd, Matt O'Grady in 4th. Ryan Porter in 5th with Doust in 6th. This is in class, remember. Jacob Pascoe in 17th. Dave Johnston, Captain Consistency, in 18th. And Josh Maynard with Mark Rooney following him up. Michael Spithill, Jack Patterson in 22nd on the grid. No worries, Eddie. That's a pity, mate, that you're not joining us out on the grid tonight, but we will see you back next week for Spa. Alright, so let's get rid of that. We're going to get this up on the board. So what will happen here is the Porsche will lead them off and the GTE cars will take us on the trip. And guys in the GTE cars that you're watching now will start us off, and then you'll jump on board with the others in a minute. If you are watching, it'd also be cool if you could give the stream a share just so that we can get the word out as the guys roll around here. Okay, so we've got Brad Nash who's going to be controlling the field. The green flag's dropped and they are going to be off and racing and they're under control. And there goes Braden Nash. He's off and he is leading this field. He's going to lead us into turn 1, followed by Jesse Butler and Chris Purnell on the inside there as well. Ron Polito still sitting in 4th, followed by Brett Douglas. We've got Jeff Thompson in 6th with Sweeney in 7th, Reynolds 8th, Polito in 9th, and Reece Ashmore in 10th. We'll jump on board with Brad Klink as the GT3s get off. Oh, and there's been a rollover. There has been a rollover at the start of the race. We will try and bring you that. TK, it looks like, has rolled his car at the start there. Oh, and another one off as well. So lots of action at the start of the GT3 class here with Murray Webster sliding off as well. So I'm not sure what happened there. It looks like Reece Ashmore's pulled off to the inside of the track there too. We'll try and find out what's going on with that. Yeah, there's a big accident there at the start on the GT3 cars as well. So we'll try and grab a replay and bring that back to you where we can. We'll jump on board with Braden Nash as he's Brought him around to finish the second sector there, so we're in the back part of this updated Silverstone track, so it never used to look like this. This is the newest part of the track. That's a big risk corner there for them as well. It's a fast-flowing right-hander, but they can come off the track and cop themselves an incident point. So fantastic start there. Not great for some of the drivers, though. Hopefully it was self-imposed as opposed to race damage, but I feel we'll have to have a look back through that after the race and see what actually happened on. So Braden Nash is cutting and running here. He's already opened up a 1.2 second gap over a train even of cars behind him. So he is obviously wanting to get as far out in front as he can. So what we're going to do here is we'll introduce you. There's a little bit of there's a fair bit of damage on some of these cars as we're just cycling through the grid. So we'll jump on board. We'll introduce this second camera, and we're going to jump on board with the leader Brad Klink of the GTE category. So we'll just bring this across for you now. This is a FGM eCast exclusive. We love having this to bring you as well. So we'll just jump on. Sorry for the camera change there. There we go. So on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, you're going to be watching the GT3 category. And obviously in the main screen there, we've got the leader of the GTE class as well. So you can try and keep up with what's going on in both classes. We don't want to just cover one side of the story. And next week we will have that up with the driver's information on it and stuff like that as well. So you'll effectively have two screens in front of you, so we can keep you as much informed as we can about what's going on across the two classes. Be great as well. We're going to be able to use that in our endurance racing stream as well. So if you are watching, please do give us a share. We give you a shout out. Love some stars as well if you're on watching and you can do that sort of thing. We would really appreciate the enthusiastic support. Alright, so as usual, I'm just having a look through to see if there's some close battles that we can cover. The chain of cars following on from this one has sort of spaced themselves out a little bit. We'll just drop back through the pack here, jump on board with down one position. So there you've got Jesse Butler on screen, winner of last week's race at Catalunya, followed by Chris Purnell, who does look to have got off to a clean start too. These front three guys are literally going to go at it for the entire race, I can tell you. Ron Polito, certainly a rising star. Ron, he did a fantastic job last week in finishing third at Catalunya. Just, again, all about consistency, people falling off the track in front of him, and had a fantastic race, which looks like it's going to be on again with this man on screen, Brett Douglas, in the second of the Virtual Motorsport Mentor cars. Who drove a really good consistent race and closed really quickly on the back of Ron towards the end of the race, and I reckon a lap or two later and he probably would have had him and moved himself up into fourth position in the GTE category. Jaden Sweeney's made a good start. He's up one place from 7th into 6th, so he'll be looking to certainly get through the round in that carbon fibred liveried, fantastic looking M8 BMW. Jaden does all of his own liveries and does liveries for some of the other guys in the class as well, so if you're looking for one, maybe send him a message and see what happens. One place further back, Wade Reynolds, again consistent last week, did suffer a little bit of damage but did a great job in making his way back up. He is a South Australian sports sedan driver from what I understand, so real life racer, bringing it onto sim racing as well. We really enjoy. Phil Polito in the second of the Polito Brothers Motorsport cars. He actually had a unlucky start last week and made his way back up the grid from last to finish in the top 8 in the overall placing. So he did a really good job of making his way back through the race, and I guess that's the advantage of these long format races, is that if you do happen to have an off or you do happen to have an issue, you can get yourself back up into the field and get yourself a decent result. We run points on this all the way back through the field, so if you finish 8th, the minimum requirement for you to score some points is 80% race completion by time. So really looking for the guys to finish around at least about an hour and a half of the race where are we, 80%, so probably about an hour 40 of the race, so that they can get they can qualify for points. My maths might be a little bit off there, so don't hold me accountable for it. It is done on the fly. So I think these M8s are going to have some good battles. Jaden Sweeney's just pulling a little bit of gap ahead of these two. Again, these two fought, like, had a dogfight last week, so they should manage to do the same thing again. Big Tomo in the second of these JWM BMWs. He's got a little bit of damage on the left-hand front corner of the car there. I'm sure we'll see what caused that a little bit later on, but he's persisting with that one. And then we're back into the first of our GT3, so you can see it all on the small screen there. You've got Brad Klink in first with Ryan Porter hot on his heels. This is still one of my favourite liveried cars. Ryan had some bad luck over the last couple of weeks, but he is back where he belongs, hotly pursuing Brad in the Ferrari. Matt Dalston has just joined us for this first race tonight in the all-black Ferrari. Jager Pascoe, who's moved up. I love this car as well. Look at the bright livery there. That will not, if we have a blackout, we'll be able to still see him running around the track, but I love it, particularly the wheels. They look fantastic. Dave Johnson, Captain Consistency. He is second in the championship at the moment, and doing a really good job in keeping it on the track. You'll see on the right-hand rear corner of the car there, he's got a little captain's hat. We've called him Captain Consistency because he just manages to roll his way around all race in a little groove of his own, as he's sort of achieving now, and scores points. So he has dropped a few places from his starting position, but he's in 5th in class at the moment. So expect to see him feature later in the race as he just does what he needs to do to score points and bring it home. And there you can see that little captain's hat just behind the right wheel. So thanks for the tribute to your nickname in this category, Dave. We love it. Jack Patterson in one of the BoxFit cars. So BoxFit are a big sponsor of a number of the cars on our grid here, which is fantastic. We always love to try and give as much of a shout out to the sponsors that help us, or help the drivers, I should say, do what they love to do and jump on here and put on the show for us all to watch. And BoxFit certainly do that. There's, I think, probably 3 or 4 cars in here that have got the BoxFit livery on them. That Ferrari being one. We head back exactly to Josh Maynard in the car right behind him in another BoxFit car. So all doing a fantastic job to represent that brand and to bring some exposure to it as well. So good on you for jumping on board with a couple of our team. Sebastian Murray-Webster, he's going to make his way back up to the front, do not fear. He did unfortunately go off self-inflicted spin on the first lap of the race, so no damage, but he is quick, so he will make his way back up to the front of this GT3 grid. Reece Ashmore, it's his second race back with us after an extended break, so very, very limited testing for Reece, but we're glad to have him back on the grid, turning laps for us tonight to join back and get himself back into the seat and back into the rhythm of things. So Josh Maynard did just have a little off there. We saw him earlier on. TK, he had an unfortunate start with a roll, but he's back in to the race, and at this stage still on the lead lap. So that's actually a really good effort from him. He may have managed to get it back to the pits, or he's not had his race ruined by that early rollover. So it's good to see TK, who is one of our favourites, jumping in from across the ditch and getting it done. So Michael Spithill in the third of our Bow Repairs supported Ferraris, doing his first race for us tonight as well. So we've got different colour wheels across these 3 cars. So that will help us tell the difference if we can't already from the numbers. So number 231 there, as opposed to the 666 of Murray Westberg, and our category leader and series leader in the GT3s, Brad Klink, in the 576. So great to have Bow Repairs on board with those guys. Another, is it? No, it's not. M2. Mark Rooney in an Audi. I love this car. I drive this as well, and it's going to be quick. So Mark and I think Matt jumping together. Yeah, they are. They're in similar liveries, jumping together in the Enduros. So we'll just jump back to the leader here. He is already catching our slower cars, a lot of the cars that have had issues. So one of the things we spoke about, there is a driver's briefing before these guys do this race, and one of the things we spoke about there was the faster and slower cars in the passing, because they aren't, albeit they're racing for position, and potentially a GTE car could lose to a GT3 car. At the end of the day, the GTE guys are who we expect to win. The cars are quicker, they've got more aero, so they've got more downforce. Power-wise, they've got more power, so we expect them obviously to do faster laps, which they do. And so we were talking about how the guys can get about letting the faster guys go without wrecking their laps, and it's a pretty straightforward thing. We just expect, if you stick on your race line, then the guy in the faster car will find a way past. 4 seconds a lap is a massive differential in a race car, so definitely the ability for them to find their way through. Down lots of straights at Silverstone. It's not like if we raced at Oran Park or one of the smaller tracks, which in these cars would just be mayhem, but at those tracks there's not a lot of great opportunities for the guys to get through in the quicker cars, with only really one main straight at Oran Park, for example. So be interesting to see how the quick guys, as Braden does approach the back of Matthew O'Grady, handle the slower cars. So we'll jump in car with Braden and just see what he does there. You can hear that Porsche working away in the background there. So he will catch up through here. You can just see a little bit later braking for them as they come through there in these cars. So he'll sit in behind here, I reckon, and just try and get through this back end of the straight here. It's this fast flowing section. He'll probably just bide his time because we're about to come up to the second longest straight. There's another one of the slower cars around it. There's a track there, and he's done well to just stick to the inside, lift off the throttle there. Hopefully here, Mark Rooney will also see him and let him through, which he does. And basically that's how we expect him to get it done. So good work there from the boys towards the back of the grid, and made it nice and easy for Braden to get through. As he continues to extend, he's got a 4.5 second lead at the front of this field at the moment, with Jesse Butler in second and Chris Purnell around about 10 seconds back down the road in third place. We'll just jump on the nose of the Nash car here as he makes his way through the first third of the track. Just might see if we can have a look at how he's heading in comparison to the guys behind him in terms of track time. We've got the map up on the track there for you. Just enjoy the sounds of this Porsche as it roars around this track here at Silverstone. Doing a fantastic job there. Let's have a look at the sector splits as well, just to see where he's moving away from Butler behind him, as he just does a 159. not his quickest lap of the race. He's already knocked out a 1:57.3. So with the fastest of the GTE guys down at a 2:02. So looks like we had a small incident there with Brad Klink, but he has not gone off the track. So maybe he just ran wide there. We'll just switch back here. We'll head to our main view just to see what's going on. Yeah, and Jaden Sweeney is closing up on the back of Brett Douglas here. So we'll just stick with this battle for the minute and see Sweeney there just taking a little bit of time out of Douglas as these two look to battle it out for the fifth place on the grid. I'm sorry, I should say. And the slower cars there just getting in the way of Sweeney as he tries to chase down onto the back of this car here. Unfortunately, it looks like Reece Ashmore's had some internet drama there, so he unfortunately is out of this one. But it is good to have him back, and we'll see him back for a full stint next week as we head to Spa. So we're just keeping an eye on this battle here. We just jumped on board on the nose of Jaden Sweeney as he looks to catch the back of Brett Douglas's car. Now that they're clear of that slower traffic, we'll just jump into helicopter view here as well and see if we can catch both the guys and see the distances. That's not working all that great with that little extra camera there, so we'll just switch back here so you can have a better view of it. So just that lap traffic really did affect Sweeney, unfortunately, because he's just dropped down to a second away. With their last lap, being a second apart. So that's disappointing. But we are only 20 minutes into a 2-hour race, so there's plenty of time for Jaden to catch Brett up. Lapping at almost identical lap times. They've both done a 2-minute 0.11 or a 2-minute 0.24. So lapping very close. And even Tomo behind them lapping at an equivalent pace. So we've got a good group of cars here all running in a 2-minute flat. Between 2-minute flat and about 2-minute 0.4 is the slowest of that group at the tail end of the GT3s. So at this stage, probably looking at a pit window of around about lap 30. We'll see the drivers probably pull through for their first round of pit stops. That will be at the hour mark. Just looking at the detail there, and I think that's what we're going to see. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as well, just to let you know where all of that ends up. "20 minutes, where does it go?" So wait for this battle to close up again. I'm confident that it will, and we'll just jump back on board again with race leader Braden Nash, whose partner in crime isn't here tonight. Brock Schaefer, who is extremely quick in the twin car of this one, who will be joining him at the Enduros, is unfortunately not able to make it tonight. So representing Phoenix window tinting really well by jumping straight back to where he left off, having missed last round. So for him, it's all about maximising points. So he really needs to make sure he gets the win here tonight, and hopes, albeit no one wants to win it that way, but hopes that the either Butler or Purnell cars don't achieve the result that they should, to ensure he can try and catch up. Just notice in the background there, yeah, just Jesse Butler just getting stuck a little bit behind. I imagine Michael Spithill, yeah, with the blue wheels there, in 10th place in his class. Probably not getting held up too much by that Ferrari around the corners, but in a straight line the Porsche will go by, and he'll do that just here. So he holds his line, and give him a little bit of room in the corner there, and the Porsche just goes smoothly through. So well done, Michael, on making that happen. We'll give you a little bit of airtime there because of it. We love good driving, and we love it close, but we love it fair as well. So give you a little bit of a highlight there for the Bow Repairs, the third Bow Repairs car in the field, 231 of Michael Spithill. Or Spitty. Probably doesn't like that, so I might not do that until I run that one past him. Try and come up with nicknames for the guys where we can. Jump on board with Chris Purnell in the Virtual Motorsport Mentor. Look, he will probably wish he was running first at the moment, but this, where he's positioned at the moment, third, just about 10 seconds off the lead before the first pit stop, won't bother him too much. If he can just be nice and consistent, keep lapping within touch of the lead cars, then he will probably save a little bit of fuel doing what he's doing and see if he cannot make up the gap in the pit stop. So it's a good opportunity with the pit stop for the guys to make up a second or two, and you really can if your entry into pit is strong enough and quick enough. Then and it's quicker than the other guy who might brake a little bit early on the control line or might not carry the speed as much until he gets into the control line. Then it can really make a big difference to how these guys get through and make their pit stops. Just seeing Brett Douglas there getting held up a little bit. We'll jump on board with Jaden Sweeney, who's just behind that car there. And Purnell gets through there cleanly as well, so that's good to see. So Jaden Sweeney there, we're jumping on board with him. Hopefully not going to get held up too much by the car in front. No, that R8 Audi there managing to carry a little bit of speed. Make his way through there. Will we see Sweeney in the background? No, he's not quite going to get it done. So Jaden will probably make his way through here. He is on the small window as well, so you can watch from the nose cone as well as the main coverage we've got here of Jaden as he tries to make his way past this lap traffic and continue the battle with Purnell. What's the lap card going to do? He's sitting on a little bit on the inside there, which is going to hold Jaden up again a little bit. So it's a bit frustrating for him there. But I'm sure he'll make his way through safely when he can. It's a long race. He's quick enough to make up the time here too. So he'll make his way past him, I imagine, just down the inside here. Yep, and he gets it done. Just holds the line a little bit tighter. And the M8, the big M8, Big Bertha, able to make its way cleanly through there for Jaden to keep pursuing the back of Brett Douglas. That has unfortunately opened up a little bit there for him out to... my apologies, 2.8 seconds is the gap. So Wayne Reynolds is just trying to attach himself to the back of Phil Polito's car here. This gap's been closing down. We've been watching this one on the timing monitor. So it's getting a little closer there, and we've got actually a really good battle back here with TK and Michael Spithill. So there, TK, if you didn't join us right at the start of the race, had an unfortunate rollover on the first lap, but managed to get it done again. Oh, and Michael's going to go for the pass here, is he? Yes, he is, and he gets it done. So these two going back and forth. Just jump on board with the... which one are we going to do? Well, I guess we're going to go with TK, given he is at the at the back of this battle here, and we'll just jump on board with him. So we're actually going to look out the back of the Ferrari of Michael Spithill here as this battle continues to develop. So at the moment, this is for 8th and 9th in class. And you can see there the drivers' fastest lap times are basically identical, with both of them doing a 2:03.3. So equally lapped cars, equally lapped paced drivers in those two cars, identical cars, obviously, so same strengths and weaknesses around the track. So it's going to come down to the driver and a little bit of setup there as well. So good close battle for us to keep an eye on. That's where this other camera that we've got set up, I love it. You can look straight out the back of the leading car that we've got on the screen to see where the following car or the pursuing car manages to find a gap or see where they can get past, and really gives you a good insight into the lines that the drivers are taking while they're trying to defend from the car behind them. And Josh Maynard's joined this battle as well. So we've got a three-way battle here for the GTE spots, 7, 8 and 9. So the guys really battling it out, even down in the lower positions. So we'll jump on with the Josh Maynard car here. Still looking in the small window out the back of the Bow Repairs car in the meat, or the meat in this sandwich that we're following along. So two different makes of cars with the Mercedes there. And he's gone a little wide, unfortunately, and let both of them through. So that's a little bit disappointing for Josh, but the race is long and he will continue to battle, I am sure. Another close battle. We'll jump on with the Doust and Murray Westberg battle that's happening here as well. This one's been close. We'll leave you with that other battle in the small window there. We'll just change the camera angle so that you can see a little bit more of what's going on. We might just keep watch out off the back wheel there. And give you the focus of the whole battle there. So a couple of interesting battles in the GTE category down here, GT3 category, which is cool to watch. So it's excellent that you've got such close battles in such small proximity of the track. We've basically got 6 cars in a row that are fighting it out for position. So just keeping an eye on the lead battle up the front here. There is a reasonable gap at the moment between first and second. But Purnell, for those following the GTE, has closed up onto the back of Jesse Butler there. Didn't get any reports of any offs or anything like that, so not sure what has happened there, but we might cycle back through and just see if we can pick up anything, as that gap there is closed down to around about a second between Purnell and Butler in second and third outright. So a little bit of a run wide there, which has lost Westberg a little bit of time, and Jager Pascoe's closed up onto the back of this one. So we've got Doust, Murray, Westberg, and Jager Pascoe all within a tissue of one another, followed by Dave Johnson just still running his own race as we expected that he would, and then you've got another battle behind them of Spithill, TK, and Maynard for 17th and 9th. So plenty going on in the GT3 class, which is awesome. We've had a few new drivers come in that's expanded that category, and it's great to see such close racing this early on. Hour and a half to go. Be a fool to call who's going to win this battle at the moment with the lap times that close together. There's every chance with these guys going a little bit slower as well that Dave Johnson might well close up onto the back of this pack too and join in the fun. So rather than it being a BLT, we might end up with a double-decker, I reckon, with 4 cars there. And to make matters worse, Braden Nash, the leader of this race, is coming up on this pack. So I hope the guys are looking their relatives a little bit to let him through, but that may just adjust a little bit how close this battle stays. Can see there watching on screen, those numbers in the windscreen are their numbers in position, so not their car numbers. So, but it is also class related. So that is GT3 third, fourth, and fifth. And you'll see behind there with Braden Nash coming up behind this pack that he has an 01 on the screen. No, my apologies. He actually hasn't got that on the screen. I'm not sure what going on there. Wow, as he closes right through the middle of that pack. That's some aggressive passing there. He just clearly wants to get on with it. Might just have to bide his time a little bit here because these Ferraris aren't that slow through the windy section in comparison to the Porsche. And he'll go gliding past down the straight here. As he does. Is he going to get past both of the guys? Yes, he is. So, well done, guys, giving him a little bit of... Oh, no, and there's been a pass taken as well. Some advantage taken there as there was a bit of room given. I don't think Douse is going to like that too much. Losing a position there. And he's gone right in on him. No, that's not ideal either. So, that's unfortunate that there's been a coming together there at the end of that one. So... we'll have to see what happens there. Sebastian will get himself back on track as he has. He's a little bit early for his pit window, unfortunately, so he will have to manage with the damage that's on that car from the turn in. And Jager Pascoe has actually taken the lead in this battle with the Ferrari. No doubt that Ferrari will have a little bit of damage on it as well. So we like close racing. We certainly enjoy it, but we prefer it to be clean as well. So we'll see what comes of that after the event. Just going to adjust our small screen here, and we're going to change vehicles here and see if we can jump on with the Butler Purnell chase, which is this one that we've got up on screen now. As this battle in the GT3s continues to rage. Looks like the Ferrari there is going to try and go for the pass. Doesn't quite manage to pull it off there with the Merc keeping its position in a straight line. So a little bit of defending here done as well by Pascoe. He's reasonably experienced, so he'll know how to try and hold that position if the car lets. And good driving there as well, as they got extraordinarily close but managed to not touch. So it is easy to lose the idea as well here, remembering that some of these guys are racing on a single screen, and when you're racing on a single screen, you don't have the peripheral vision that you have in a car. So it's easy to lose sight of a car that you might be next to and unfortunately turn into them. So some of the guys, when they're racing, they use virtual reality, which gives them the full perspective because they can turn their head and look either side of the car, or they run triple monitors, which equally does the same thing to give them access to that peripheral vision that you enjoy when you're in an actual car. So just a move there, almost a change of position. Very good driving again. Pascoe keeping it clean and maintaining that position by doing the crisscross. As we've got, oh no, and Purnell's been taken out there. He is not going to be happy about that at all, being taken out by a lapped car early in the race. So that is unfortunate there with Michael Spithill taking him out. So he doesn't look like he's suffered any damage for it, but certainly won't be pleased that he now has to make up a gap that he was already closing while he was going through lap traffic. So he'll be a little hot in the car there, and hopefully can get himself back up to the back of the Butler Porsche. So Butler has made his way through there. Little cheeky flash of the headlights from Douse there behind Pascoe, trying to unnerve him, no doubt. But Jager's too experienced for that, I think, so he'll just keep pressing on. Just keep an eye on Purnell as he tries to bridge that gap. So already making headway back into that gap. So I'm just wondering if the tyres of that Porsche might have gone off a little bit in front of him. As you can see there, Purnell just a little bit further back down the road, but already bridging the gap that was unfortunately created for him. So we'll keep an eye on how he goes closing that up, and hopefully this time we can see the slower traffic give him a little bit of space to make his way through. About 4 seconds a lap faster, the GT3s than the GTEs, so it can be difficult when there's this small group here, as there is, for them to get past all three cleanly at one point in time. Very difficult around this track. But if anyone is going to be able to do it, it will be Purnell, who can navigate his way through. And this time Spithill giving him some room to allow him through, which is much better and much more like what we want to see. And likewise as well, Matt Dowse. So well done this time, fellas, on letting Chris get on with it. Jager Pascoe will have no problem in making room for Chris. One of our favoured drivers is Jager. Not that we have favourites, you can't have favourites, but always does the right thing by the faster cars, but still maintains the battle. Look at that. This group is fantastic now that they're all back together again. A little bit of bump and grind that happened. Pascoe's managed to keep himself clean here, so he will enjoy the fresh air and the lack of pressure from not having that Purnell car behind him. We've been really treated as we've been going through this. Thanks for the call out there, Frank. Yeah, Tomo's one of our favourites as well. We've been really treated to some great racing throughout this series so far. As look at that for close racing. Wow, there's the Ferrari gets right up beside Pascoe. As they head down into the left hand here, Pascoe will be able to defend his position, and the Ferrari outbraked himself a little bit there, and Murray Westberg looks like he's going to try and take advantage of that around the outside, but he doesn't get it done. And we're going too wide here through the last corner as we head back down onto the main straight. And there's been a touch again with the two Ferraris hustling and bustling, but it looks like both of them have managed to keep themselves straight and keep the battle alive. And I think a little bit of a redress there from Murray Westbeck, which was good to see, as he and Matty Dowse both wrestle for the other place here. So they've got to remember it is a 2-hour race. There's still an hour 20 to go, so there's no point in wrecking your car to try and maintain the spot. You might make it up there, and it looks like Jager's just run a little bit wide there and lost that position there to Matty Dowse. So, but the battle resumes and certainly continues. So we'll jump on board with Dowse here just to make sure that we've got you covered from a viewer's perspective. Chris Purnell still down in the small window there, making up the gap after he was unfortunately run into a couple of laps ago trying to get through getting through this battle of cars. So he will make up the gap that he's got there around about 5 seconds to the car in front before hopefully pitting in at around about lap 30. At this stage, we've had no one roll through the pits for their pit stop that will be required. We have had a couple of cars go through to repair some damage from very early on in the race, but at this stage, no one's done the fuel to the end pit stop, which we expect to happen in around about 20 minutes' time. So I want to jump off and give you guys some coverage of some of the other battles that are going on, but at the moment, with this being a second covering 3 cars, it is the closest battle on track. We do have some other ones with Matt O'Grady and Josh Maynard having a fairly good go at it a little bit further back on in the field. Frank will bring you a little bit of coverage of Tomo in a bit as well. He's currently running 7th, if you wanted to know. In fact, we'll jump on board with him right now, actually. We'll just have a look at how he's doing for you there. So he is tracking up onto the back of Jaden Sweeney, who's around about a second in front of him up the road. He's got a little bit of damage on the left-hand front there, as you can see, as we watch him pursue Jaden Sweeney and hopefully move himself up into 6th. He's down 1 from his starting position of 7th. So he, in a sister car, in a twin, in another Big Bertha BMW, it'll be interesting to see how long it'll take him to bridge that gap. Just in the small window there, I'm just going to bring you on board with the battle that we were covering, just to keep an eye on it there. So sorry for the scroll through as we make our way back to the car. Well, there's a safety car for you. You can have a look at that one if you're really interested. And there's another little battle brewing here as well. It looks like... Just trying to work out who that is in the small window there. I think it might be Dave who's made some room there, so... Just trying to find this battle as Purnell has obviously had an off track there because he's now caught back up in the middle of that pack and really struggling with the... that's actually not Purnell, my apologies. That's Brett Douglas who is caught in the middle of this battling pack. So it's really starting to heat up out there. That's Jaeger Pascoe there. So he's obviously had a little bit of an off, is still in this pack battle that we were following before. So I'll just jump back on to the Murray Westberg car in that small window and we'll keep focused on this battle here, which is closed right up. We've got Brett Douglas, who was held up by some lap traffic and continues to be held up a little bit by the lap traffic in 5th position. Jaden Sweeney hot on his tails there in the M8. Followed by Frank, your mate, Tomo, who is in 7th as well. So you can see this pack is an unintended pack of cars here, a mixture of GTEs and GT3s. So, yeah, it's very close racing here between these cars. So, it definitely will be that Brett will be wanting to make his way out of this pack so that he can continue the pursuit of Ron Polito. The racing has actually been pretty clean. We haven't had too many crashes or anything like that. Unfortunately, just difficulties in the slower cars trying to let these GTEs find their way through. So, a little bit too big a gap there between the Murray Westberg Bow Repairs Ferrari GT3 for Brett to get through in the GTE. He'll get it done here as the drag opens up, and yeah, not really sure on that one there with Murray Westberg pulling over to the inside and just jamming himself into the gap there, which is not ideal either. So not really too sure how that would have been received by Sweeney as well, who's done well to avoid coming into contact with I'm not sure if the Westberg car just couldn't see Sweeney out the left-hand side of his car there. If he is racing on a single monitor, that could well be the issue, but just lucky not to take out one of the GTE cars there as well. So, whew, what a 10 or 15 minutes. It's been extremely close. So we've still got 2 seconds covering this battle here, and the battle of Doust, Westberg and Pascoe has opened up a little bit. So a battle that we were covering before, we've got sort of now around about 5 seconds covering 4 or 5 drivers in that GTE category. So that is still there on screen. Murray Westberg still on the small insert screen there for those of you who were looking to cover it. Fastest lap of the race so far, no surprise, it is our leader Braden Nash. As Westberg goes off there, and I wouldn't surprise me if he decides to duck into the pits after that one. He's dropped down now into 16th position, so just looking like he's run wide there, unfortunately, and that Ferrari's looking at a little second hand, so he will probably duck into the pits at some stage soon and get that repaired, albeit that will mean that he will have to stop again before the end of this race, so he may well persist. Well done there, Matty Doust, getting out of the way. There is 2 more faster cars coming through behind him. They will not make it through before they go around this fast right-hander. Jaden Sweeney getting through on the inside there. Hopefully Matty Doust can see him, and both BMWs getting through there with Tomo on the drag race, just getting through on Jaden Sweeney. So Perhaps Jaden just looking to conserve, just looking to make his race last the distance rather than trying to push the issue there. So these guys lapping at extremely similar lap times. There is 0.03 of a second between their fastest laps of the race. In fact, it's 0.02 of a second between the fastest laps of the race there for these three cars. So extraordinarily even fastest laps, and they're also consistently lapping at the same pace. So hopefully Jaden can stay, Sweeney can stay stuck onto the back of the Thomas M8 as they pursue Douglas for 5th position in the GTE class, and indeed outright 5th position as well. The speed of that BMW will be a little bit affected as well by the damage on that left-hand front corner of it, but it doesn't seem to be worrying Tomo too much. He is making his way through, and Douglas is going to feel the fire of the German car on his back very shortly. So as we suspected, Sebastian Murray Westberg, you can see him there on the small camera. He has pitted in, so he will need to either manage fuel through to the end of this race, or unfortunately will have to pit again. Jump on board with Brad Klink, who is the leader of the GT3 class and doing a good job running a clean race. Polito BMW also in the pits there, so Ron maybe just taking on some, sorry, not Ron, my apologies, Phil's just taking on maybe some new tyres. Jump back on board with this battle that has reignited itself in the small window, which is Jager Pascoe and Michael Spithill, who again are well and truly under a second apart. See what's going on back in this battle as well. 2 seconds covering three, well, now under a second covering 3 cars, as Jaden Sweeney has moved back up onto the back of the Thomas-driven BMW M8. You can see that there in the back of the back of shot. We'll just jump on board with Thomas as we cover this to see if Jaden Sweeney can grab that position back. So if you look in the small window as well, Jager Pascoe and Michael Spithill still going at it as well. So, I mean, I love having this second camera on board, as they are on backup on the back of Doust as well. So having this camera on board, as they're 3 wide. If you're looking at the small window, 3 wide going into turn 8. And, yeah, we are still battling it out. It's just going to go on. I can see it now. We've got 48 minutes to go in... sorry, we've had 48 minutes gone in this race, an hour and 11 to go. And... these little battles are going to rage for the entire race. You know, the last half an hour is generally where we say you've got to stick around and keep watch, because it's going to be interesting. And right now, we've got battles right through the pack. It's fantastic racing. It's great to see. So Sweeney's right up on the back here as well. Oh, as Tomo gets real wide there, running it wide. Maybe the tyre's starting to go off a little bit. Even takes it out onto the dirt there. You can see he's got a little bit of toe out on that left-hand front wheel if you look at it in comparison to the other Sweeney BMW from that earlier damage in the race as well. So Sweeney getting the job done there, moving himself up into 6th position. Before we get through, we've got a fastest Sector 4 for Braden Nash, who's definitely pedal to the metal, running away at the front of this one at the moment. So looking to probably lead from start to finish if he can. So Tom will be trying to get it done, as that pack down in the small window there, still fiercely battling it out. Less than a second covering those 3 cars. They can throw a tissue over all 3 of them and keep them all warm at night. It is fantastically close. The old 12th man giving us that classic. I think he used it in reference to rugby league at the time, throwing a tissue over the Manly backline. Let's turn these cars up a little bit if we can get a bit more volume for you, get a bit more of the experience happening. Do need to do a shout out again to our partners, simrigs.com, for everything you need to get started except the computer in sim racing, followed by Aftershock, your choice, your rig, your choice, who will sort you out with everything that you need to get onto this in terms of a ripper computer. That is what enables us to bring you this fantastic stream and indeed our channel. They are our computer partners, so thank you very much to Ryan and the team out at Aftershock. I know a couple of our competitors have ordered computers from them as well to help with graphics and speed and things like that. So they definitely are helping some of our guys on the grid. And it looks like there's been an incident here with Westberg, Spithill and Doust are still going. What have we got there? Jager Pascoe, yeah, so the gap there is opened up a little bit. So it looks like there's been a maybe an incident there. Sebastian, we'll just try and bring that for you on the main screen. So what's happened here? He's come flying through. He's on fresh tyres, of course, having made his pit. And yeah, just a big slide. Oh, and he's hung it on the wall. So that will get towed. We've also got one here from TK. We'll just have a quick look at in this battle pack. What's ended up happening there? So has he just gone for the big slide? Oh, no. Slowed down where they weren't expecting. So a little bit of damage there for TK, but he will keep going and get back to it. Just jump back on board live now with our race leader, Braden Nash. It's been a fairly comfortable one for him so far, just out in front, taking it easy, probably heading down the shops to get some milk in that awesome looking Phoenix window tinting Porsche. Hasn't copped too much pressure, has managed to run away with it pretty much from the start. So doing a great job out there in first. It's not easy to lead one of these races from start to finish. It's a 2-hour sprint race in a lot of cases, and with the lap traffic and what have you coming from early on, as you can just see there is a pass by Michael Spithill round the outside of Matthew Doust. And Matthew Doust has just dropped one place. Oh, and there's a switchback as well, and they've just keep going and surprising us, these two, with Doust and Spithill. Spithill and Doust just continuing to exchange positions. So really good racing, very, very good racing. Oh, he's giving the old flash of the headlights as well, just to make sure he knows he's there. I'm pretty sure he's aware that you're there. He's definitely not under any illusion that you are chasing him down, and it won't be long before Jager Pascoe gets back onto the back of this group as well, and I think he's going to bring Henry with him as well, TK, and it wouldn't surprise me, 5 wide in that battle as they continue to try and pass one another around the corners of this famous racetrack in Great Britain. Just looking at him coming up on some lap traffic here, Braden. It's always the fear is that you're going to get in trouble with some lap traffic. The Porsche should be able to get it done here down the inside, provided they give him room, which they have. Well done, guys. Fantastic driving as usual. We love it. And Braden just continues on his merry way out into the 22nd lead here. A pit lane transition with full fuels. Going to be around about a minute and a half. So obviously the 20 seconds there will help him to make sure he maintains that lead once our cars start cycling through the pit stops. I know you guys like to know what's been going on with those as well. As so far, really only Phil Polito has managed to has done a pit stop that will potentially get him to the end of the race. He did that on lap 23. We're lap 26 now, and we've got about 6 minutes to go until the halfway point in this race. So if he manages his fuel, he may get to the end, but he is going to need to save around about 6 laps worth of fuel to make that happen. If you are in the chat, do let us know if you want to see a driver, or if what you're enjoying or what you're not enjoying, or whatever the case might be, and we'll see if we can bring you some of your favourite driver, or answer any questions that you might have about the racing or the stream or what we do, or any of that sort of stuff. Then do jump on and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So in a little bit we will be taking our intermission, and we will leave you with the racing in the window. We've got about 4 minutes to go until the halfway mark, where I generally go and grab a quick cold drink and get myself set up for the last hour of the race. It's been an action-packed first hour, not dissimilar to last week, but just a little bit different with the battle packs that we have been following. So Jumped on board with Ryan Porter here. He is having a good clean race at this point in time, and may well it continue. Just there you can see Brad Klink in front of him, so he is challenging for the lead. That's actually closed up quite a lot there, so we might just stick with this battle here. The GTE guys giving us all the action tonight, with the battle of Douglas, Sweeney and Thomas still going on at the GTE level. Brad's just let Phil Polito through in the GTE car there, and is doing a good job of probably trying to reopen a gap that he did have. Didn't see any issues there or incidents there, but potentially again with the faster cars coming through, it may well be that he has had to let it go. So in the small screen there, we've just got the battle of Sweeney and, as I've just messed up the cameras there, we'll stick with this one there. Just got the battle pack there of Thomas, Sweeney and Douglas. You can see that remains close as well. So just trying to keep an eye on both of the packs. G'day from Pakistan. Thanks very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And if you are, love it if you could give us a share or give us a like as well. So thanks very much for joining us there, Nail. We appreciate it. All the way from Pakistan. I don't think we've had anyone from Pakistan come on yet, so you are our first. So we've got these three cars in the GTE pack in your small screen there, and we are following the GT3 battle at the front here. Brad Klink has got a little bit of damage on that right-hand front corner there, so I don't know when he achieved that. We didn't get any highlight to say that he's had an accident or that he's struggled in any way, shape or form, so it could just be a little bit of Rubbings Racing keeping him just with that damage there, not affecting him too much. And to be brutally honest, Brad's had shocking luck this series and still managed to come out on top. He's a fantastic driver, and tonight we were told that he got a new rig and built a new computer and was upgrading his settings, and he was a good quick driver prior to this. As we just see in the background there, you've got Ryan Porter, who has ducked into pit lane just shy of the hour mark, so this is going to be interesting to see. He's going to have to manage a little bit of fuel to make sure he gets to the end. But Klink has upgraded his system, but at the moment, to get here tonight, to maintain his lead in the championship, he's had to jig together a hybrid system with bits of his old computer and bits of his new computer and stuff just to make it on the grid tonight. So very little testing on that new tyre model that was released overnight. So he doing a fantastic job once again, and really representing that Bow Repairs brand very well as the lead car there. So with Porter pulled off there, we'll just keep an eye on the small window of where or when Brad Klink decides to jump in. It is going to be after the hour mark. I'm just going to jump on board with Brett Douglas here as this battle continues to rage. And we'll just switch to Brett's car there, and we'll jump out the back of his car in the small window and just see there, you can see the M8 of Sweeney just tailing him there, just pulling up behind the GT, particularly through the corners where the M8 will be stronger. The GT's got the legs down the straight, so he'll pull away a little bit here as we head round to the sweeping right-hander. And you can see there that the gap opens up that little bit as we come down the straight. Sweeney's definitely in the stream here with less than half a second between him and Douglas in front of him. So these two driving together at the Spa 24-hour race that we are going to bring you live on this channel next weekend, starting Saturday at 11 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. So it's just getting a notification too. Chris Purnell has pulled in to make his mandatory pit stop right on the hour mark. So he will definitely make it to the end as far as fuel goes. He'll have to do a little bit of fuel saving, but he might be pitting in early here. We'll just keep an eye on the timeline of his stop as this battle continues to close up. Just looking in that small camera there, you can see right out the back of the GTs, Sweeney behind him, the different lines between the different cars and how they handle. And wow, doesn't the M8 close it up on the corners? It's definitely where its strength is. The big wide car. As they all pull into the pit lane. All three drivers into the pit lane here. So we're going to see stops from the Douglas car, Sweeney and Thomas all coming in at the same time. We've got Polito in front of them, Purnell as well. So we've got positions 3 through 7 in the pit lane at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see who has to fill the most. Their pit relative travel times will be exactly the same, with all of them doing really well to pull their cars up. This is fantastic vision for us to be able to watch this as the Polito car is just pulling in. We've got all of them in the pit now, so it's going to be, we'll keep an eye on this rear view screen here as we just try and see who is going to get out of the pit lane first. So we'll just jump to pit lane cam. It just shows you all of the cars there. I know that it's not the racing live. We will keep you updated on anything that goes on in the background, but this is our battle pack in the GTE category. We've got basically all 5 cars all battling it out, with Purnell right at the front of this one. He's having a little bit of a longer stop. He'll drop first and we'll get back underway. He has done his stop now, so he is out at 1:41, stationary time of a minute. We've got the M8 that we've got in the small camera of Thomas, who is just getting his tyres done. Douglas will be already getting his tyres done. His pit transition stationary time will be about the same as Purnell, so around about a minute. So we've got 3, 2, 1 until you'll see the Polito M8 drop and go, and there he goes there. He's going to get out in front of that Audi, and we've got a little bit longer, and there we go. So we've got Sweeney, who's managed to get out in front of the Thomas BMW and open the gap there, but close right up behind the Douglas GT. So we'll jump back on board with Douglas on the main screen here. And you can see there the gap is close. So it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Braden Nash just putting in a scorching 4th sector, second faster than any other car. So this will probably be his best lap of the race. But this race here is definitely underway and definitely going to continue right the way through to the end. Don't fear, Thomas will close back up onto this pack. He's only a couple of seconds further back down the road, potentially taking on a little bit more fuel, and Polito is about 5 seconds in front of the Douglas GT there. So just getting through some lap traffic. He's going to let them through. Great driving. We appreciate it, as always, in the Audi there. New to the series as well, Mark Rooney. So good on him for giving the guys plenty of room and not holding up this battle. He lets Sweeney through as well. So we'll jump on board with him and give him a little bit of coverage as well. So love it. Oh, g'day Peter, thanks very much for joining us. I have been to your part of the world as well. A few years ago I was lucky enough to do a little bit of tour of the UK and make my way to Silverstone, so it's a great part of the world, and the track itself is just captivating. If you're travelling and you go to the UK, definitely worth the drive down there. It's the hub of motorsport in the UK. Lots of cool stuff to look at. No blue sky. That's a pity that the weather there is not great, but we hope you're doing well, and thanks very much for joining us all the way from the UK. We love it. So we've got just 4 seconds covering these 3 cars that we're following here. We've got our leader, Braden Nash, who has pulled in through the pits there. Wade Reynolds is also stationary in pit lane, so we've just got Douglas, Sweeney, and about to be Thompson go past him in the pits. In terms of the GTE cars, we still have Braden Nash out in the lead, even though he is in pit lane, but we expect that to change. He's now doing his stationary part of his stop. He'll be stationary for around about a minute based on the other Porsches. So expect to see him pop out. What have we got there? We've got a gap of just around 20 odd seconds. So he's still going to maintain his lead, I think. Butler, when he catches up, will probably be around 20 seconds still behind Braden Nash, so he's got around about 10 seconds to go in the stationary part of his pit stop. So this gap between Douglas and Sweeney around about a second. It was a lot closer coming out of the pit, so maybe the GT just warming up its tyres a little quicker there than the Big Bertha M8 as Braden Nash exits the pits with a 36-second gap back to Jesse Butler, so he has maintained his gap there. Back to second place, but I tell you who hasn't maintained his gap is Jesse Butler, with Chris Purnell right up behind him. So Chris back to where he was. That's part of the pit stop there that's helped him do that. before he was unfortunately taken out earlier in the race. Not too much damage, which was fortunate, but he was this close when it happened. So no lap traffic at this point in time in the horizon for these two. This battle is on. And last week, this is how close it was for an hour and a half of racing. These two raced clean, consistent laps against one another, lap after lap after lap, and it was awesome for us to be able to jump on board and join them as they got that done. So we'll just try and jump on board. We've got to cycle through here, so sorry if it's giving you motion sickness as we get through. We'll just jump on board with Purnell now. So again, in the small screen on the right of your screen, as you're looking at it, you can see the view out of Purnell's car from the roll bar to the back of the Jesse Butler Porsche in front of him. Jesse's got his Mark 1 Esports team logo up this week. We did have a few problems with the overlay there and getting that done, and Jesse got it fixed, so thank you very much for doing that, Jesse. We love to represent the team that you are representing. So Mark 1 Esports is the team that Jesse drives for. And if you haven't joined us earlier in the broadcast, Jesse literally races at a desk with the steering wheel bolted to the desk, a single screen, and a set of pedals. So about as basic as you can get. And he is extremely quick and extremely consistent. So credit to him and his talent as a driver. I shudder a little bit at the thought of how quick he is going to get when he gets a little bit more equipment that maybe probably allows him to do these things a bit more comfortably in the right seating position and with a little bit more perspective on the track as well. So testament to him, fantastic at his craft. So it's just under half a second. Watch the lines here. The GT is definitely slower through these windy sections. The Porsche a little bit better balanced, but the GT itself is in a straight line quicker than the Porsche. So expect to see the Purnell car close up behind the Porsche here, but probably not be able to get it done. He's not close enough at just closing it in there to just under half a second. This section of the track here is fast and flowing, and it will suit the Porsche better as Butler defends on the inside there as we head around the right-hander, down into the slow left-hander, and the exit of this corner is really important for your lap time. You've got to get out of the slow corner and get on the gas as fast as you can as we head through this main straight. A little bit of a cut across the AstroTurf there on the inside edge of the corner as they head down into a heavy braking zone for a left-hander. Purnell just sticking the nose out there just to let Butler know that he's probably having a think about it. Certainly too far away to do anything at this point in time, but always a good tactic. The Porsche ran a little bit wide there, probably a little bit later than he wanted to, but got out of the corner nice and quick for the run through my favourite part of the track as we head up past the old pit lane in the old, so this is the original section of the track, originally where the pit lane was, into the new section of the track as they sweep through this fast right-hander, use a little bit more of the curb onto the outside left-hander, and this is the best bit of the track in my opinion. Fast flowing, so you're downshifting. As you come through here, little tap on the brake to get the car to turn in, downshift a little bit. Looks like Purnell wasn't expecting the Porsche to brake quite as early as he did there. And then you out through the corner here onto the run down to the last part of this new section of the track. What a lap to talk. Are you sick of me yet? So as I get down here into the braking zone, you're going to slow down, get the car turned in nice and early, as you can see Purnell's done there, and then you're on the gas again out of the exit to try and get yourself down into this last chicane before we get round to conclude the lap. So right up on the back of the Porsche there as well. These two, I'll tell you what, they could go at it all night, I reckon, and not a lick of paint get traded and racing as close as we're getting to see here. So as they cross the start-finish line, Braden Nash in the background's just done the fastest lap of the race, but I can tell you on that last lap there, it actually lists that Purnell was faster for that lap, so closing up the gap there down to 0.3 as we get through this first section of the track. So we'll just stay on board with these two here. Again, the slow left-hander, it's really important to be able to get out of that corner as quickly as you can. Otherwise, you do lose lap time with this long run down to the next set of corners. So coming up on a little bit of lap traffic there. I'm not sure who we've got in front of us. It looks like a Mercedes-Benz, so it's probably that of Jack Patterson. That of Joshua Maynard that they're coming up on, and hopefully he's looking at his relative box because these two will come up in a heck of a hurry, and he will need to make sure that he makes room for them to continue this amazing battle that we have the privilege of covering. For those of you still interested in the Douglas Sweeney-Thomas battle, Sweeney is right behind Brett Douglas at this point in time, so that battle's still raging. And we do have another battle still further down the pack as Purnell gives a little bit of a flash of the headlights there again, just to let him know that he's there. I think he can probably feel the pressure, but it didn't phase Jesse Butler last week, so I'm not sure too much will change. And that's actually Jaeger Pascoe in the Mercedes there, so he's running 6th in the GT3 class. He will definitely give these guys room. He is an excellent racer and participant. As the GT closes right up, he's going to have a look down the inside here, and I think he'll get it done. Yes, he does. So Chris Purnell has managed to move the GT up into second outright with a good clean pass at the end of the straight. It certainly favours the GT, that long straight, where it can use its extra power to make its way through. And he'll now be trying to open up a gap as he pursues Braden Nash for the win of this race. Again, hopefully Jaeger Pascoe can see these two coming through. Not quite close enough to them as yet, but through this section here, hopefully he'll give them room down into the braking zone, and he does. So good racing again, Jaeger Pascoe. We love it. Thank you very much. And on these guys go to continue this battle. For that, we'll give the Jaeger car a little bit of press coverage here. This is one of my favourite liveries with the fluoro orange, very partial to an orange car. And Jaeger's been with us from the start. He's doing a really good job battling in 6th position there. He did have a little bit of bad luck. Was running in a battle pack with Doust and Spit, who were just up the road in front of him. And hopefully he can get back up into that pack. I think he probably will. So keep an eye on that as we get into the last 30 minutes of this race, where things generally tend to get a bit silly. To jump back on board, we'll just switch cameras back here into the... oh, we've gone forward, sorry. We'll just switch cameras back here into the Porsche that is chasing down Chris Purnell to keep an eye on that battle. And we'll jump on board with Purnell himself as they get through. In terms of pit stops, everyone has been through the pits, so where everyone is now is actually the racing positions for those particular vehicles. So you can see there on our ticker across the top of the screen, they call them tickers, that the actual order that you're seeing there is the real race order. So we will run you back through that when we get back from our break. Just going to go to our break now and... just bring you a couple of bits and pieces from our sponsors who without we would not be able to put on this show for you. So we will... You know what? I think it's too close for us to go anywhere at the moment, so we're just going to stick with it here. You can see that some of the lap traffic getting in the way there, but letting these guys get through. So we'll just give you a quick rundown. We're lucky enough to have our sponsors on board, being Aftershock, Your Rig, Your Choice, who are our computer providers, simrig.com for everything you need to get into the driver's seat, Virtual Motorsport Mentor, and also, obviously, it's a Ferguson Group Media eCast production, so thank you very much for joining us. While you're there, if you could give us a like, if you feel so inclined, we'd always love some stars. Or if you're following us on Twitch, please follow us as we look to try and become a Twitch affiliate and make our way to being a Twitch partner over the coming months. Got plenty of cool motorsport to bring you, plenty of new events as well. We've launched our retro gaming nights, which is taking place tomorrow night as me and some of the guys take on NBA Jam. We did this yesterday to absolutely abysmal results. So tomorrow night we are looking to try and get a win, and we will be running some retro gaming tournaments as well, so where you can jump on board on your favourite older console, whether that be a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega. We're trying to get PlayStation as well. jump on board and do some 1v1 PvP elimination style stuff, maybe across, NBA Jam could be one, or a number of the other games that are listed. Maybe even some Nigel Mansell on Super Nintendo. So this battle here continues to rage on for second and third outright. As we go through the lead, you've got Braden Nash in first, Purnell in second, Butler in third, Ron Polito still doing a fantastic job in fourth position, keeping his nose out of trouble there. He has got Brett Douglas closing down on him in fifth, Sweeney in sixth, Thomas in seventh, Wade Reynolds in eighth, and Phil Polito, the second of the Polito brothers, in ninth. Ryan Porter looks like he may have there's been a change for position at the lead there, so we're just going to jump on board with them to give them a little bit. So you've got Porter there. He is the leader of the GT3 category, with Brad Klink behind him. TK has made his way back up to third, and he has actually done his second pit stop, so that is outright for position at this stage. He's a little bit further back down the road though. No, I don't think you will have any internet issues with Nigel Mansell. The graphics are a little bit less there, Reese. So, looking forward to doing some more NBA Jam with you tomorrow night. Hopefully we can actually defend and maybe score a little bit, and the kind of the objective of basketball, and bring home some bacon. Pascoe there in sixth, O'Grady seventh, Dave Johnson, captain consistency, in eighth. Patterson 9th, Maynard 10th, Rooney 11th, Murray Westberg in 12th, and we've got, unfortunately, Reese joined us on the chat, but with some internet issues, not strong enough with his new internet to be connected still. Trying to join us by running on the phone, and unfortunately not strong enough there for him to keep participating, but great to see him back in the field, and we'll definitely be back for Spa. In Adelaide, love it, love Adelaide. It gets a caning for being in the 80s. So this, the joke would be that this would be probably coming across in 8-bit for you, Darren, but certainly not. I love Adelaide. It's a fantastic spot to holiday, particularly if you like wine, and certainly if you can make your way out to the Bend, where it's extremely windy, but that's going to be a fantastic facility for motorsport into the future. And I absolutely am a massive fan of the Adelaide V8 Supercar event, which is combined with another festival, of which the name escapes me at the moment. Maybe Darren, you can help us out there with that. Generally when the V8 Supercars are on in Adelaide, there's another festival that goes on at exactly the same time. So it's a really cool party atmosphere over there at that point in time in the year, so I love it. But thanks for joining us, we appreciate it. Certainly if you are, we'd love it if you give the stream a share as well, so we can get some exposure to some extra viewers out there. That would be fantastic. So I've got 40 minutes to go. We've done 40 laps. That generally tends to be the crossover point that we get. Around 30 minutes to go is when things start to get a little bit crazy. So about 10 minutes away from that. So if you are watching, don't leave. You want to be here for the last 30 minutes of the race, when things that are crazy tend to go bump in the night. This battle here for second and third is still close. Very timely, Tyler, for us to switch across to, I'm assuming you're talking about Jesse Butler there, or Butsy. He has just lost a position down into third place with his nemesis, Chris Purnell, who they battled it out last week, nose to tail for an hour and a half. So you would be a braver man than I to bet on the outcome of this particular battle. With both of these guys, match for pace, match for consistency, really good races. Chris Purnell told me after the race that when he was racing with Jesse, it was the best racing he'd ever done on iRacing, just because of how much respect they had for one another in terms of not running into one another, no off tracks, nothing like that, but keeping it as close and as high pressure as you can get. So definitely two of our favourites to cover. Just skip back a little bit to this battle with the car of Jaden Sweeney there, just trying to navigate some of the slower traffic, which he will get through. The guys, Mark Rooney and Matt O'Grady in these Audis have done a good job to keep things a little bit tight. So Jaden just coming up on the back of Matt O'Grady there, and he'll make room just in the braking zone here. So again, good driving and good room left for Jaden to get through there and continue his hunt for the back of that Douglas car, and he in turn is trying to hunt down Ron Polito in the BMW. Normally big supporter base, the Polito brothers. We haven't had anyone in the chat give us a shout out for Ron or Phil this week, so probably feeling a little bit unloved. If you are out there watching and it's the Polito brothers you're here for, then give us a shout out to let us know that you're still out there. Whew. Wow. We're just getting notification that Ryan Porter has dropped off the track here, and he has, unfortunately. So we'll just try and bring you a replay of that incident there just to see what it was that caused him there. It looks like it's a single car incident, and he may just have had a slide. Yeah, he has. So he's just had a little slide there, and a little bit gets off the racing line too and does a fantastic job. Well done with that one. So we'll go back there live to Ryan, and he's just been lapped as well by the lead car, Brad Nash. So, but not too far behind Brad Clink as well. So expect him to hook back onto that battle and get himself back, maybe in contention for the lead as we with 37 minutes to go. And I was just slightly open to buffer here on the Jesse Butler Porsche, so trying to get a little bit of breathing space, just around 3/4 of a second behind him in that Porsche. So we're still on board in the small camera with the Butler Porsche, so if you are watching that battle and we do skip away, you can still keep note of what is going on there. And I remembered what it was in Adelaide. It's the Fringe Festival, which is also on at the same time as the V8 Supercars. So for those of you who are hanging, really wanting that piece of information, I know you're out there. That is what it was called. It's the Fringe Festival. So Adelaide turns into a party town for 2 days and gets it going. So it's a great place to go. If you haven't visited, go and visit. Not now. Victorians aren't welcome, but with good reason. So when you can, go. That's my bit for Australian tourism, and that's all I have to say. Let's see who else is close here. So the gap between Clink and Ryan Porter is just on a second. We've got the Ron Polito, Brett Douglas battle just developing there. You can see that Brett, who did this last week, he closed right up on the back of it. Yeah, Tyler, I can just give me a tick. Right up on the back of the Polito BMW. He will be caught up to Ron. I reckon maybe he hasn't left it quite as late this time to make his run, so 36 minutes to go. It'd be interesting to see if he can get it done. So Tyler, thanks for asking your question. You've asked if we can tell you a little bit about the series. We certainly can. So this is a mixed category of GTE and GT3 cars. So we've got our GTE cars, which are the Porsche, which is in the lead at the moment, the GT Ford, which as you can see there just in the background, the GTE BMW and the GTE Ferrari 488. And then in the GT3 category, we've got the GTE compliant Ferrari 488 with the Mercedes-Benz and the Audi as well. So we've been running this series now. This is our fourth event in this championship. They're 2-hour races, 40-minute practice session, followed by a 20-minute open qualifying session, and a 2-hour single driver solo race for our first 5 rounds. And then in round 6, we head to the Nürburgring for a co-driver 4-hour race, followed by our finale at the mountain at the Mecca of Australian motorsport, Mount Panorama, where we're going to do another 4-hour race. They will be held on 2 Saturday afternoons. We've got 1 round of the standard stuff remaining, which is at Spa next week on a Thursday night. A great lead-in 2-hour race to the Spa 24-hour, which takes place on the Saturday and Sunday following, which will also be streaming. So that's a little bit about the series. There's going to be a few changes in the series into next season, but we will be announcing them to hopefully encourage a little bit more racing, but also to just bring it up another level and improve it for the drivers. The eCast channel that we run, FGM eCast, has only been around for 2 months, and this is our first major series that we've been running. So if you're interested, there we go. The Politos are getting a mention. Thanks very much, Evie. We appreciate it. With Ron doing a fantastic job on screen here again, running in 4th, but being chased down again by Brett Douglas. So, but yeah, so that's a little bit about the series. We will be running an IndyCar series starting in a few weeks. We've got the IndyCar Pro Series and also a Mazda series that we're starting. We're trying to basically bring you the best racing that we can on iRacing and the best esports coverage as we continue to grow our channel, or e-gaming coverage as well as we diversify into other games. So that's a little bit about us. So thanks Tyler, for your question and for tuning in. And if you like what we do, we'd love a share of the stream, as I've said. That would be fantastic and help us grow the channel. It's good to see more people watching this week than last week. We love it. That hopefully means that we're doing a good job. And the dual camera setup, we're massive fans of. It's something that we haven't seen done before, so always trying to push the envelope a little bit where we can. That setup will get better and better as we develop the stream. So it's been a flat-out week this week. We haven't had a lot of time to do any of the usual development stuff that we do, but we will be back on with it again from this week. So I'm board with Brad Klink there, just looking over the right-hand rear wheel in the small screen there. You can see that the gap to Ryan Porter has closed up, so he has made his way back up onto the back of that car after that. Thanks very much for the feedback, Tyler. You're always welcome, mate. You can jump on if you want to apply to our website, fgmecast.com, and you can definitely drop an application in, and yeah, hopefully we can see you on the grid next season. That'd be fantastic. So you can see there the gap to Ron is closing up. We'll just put on there the sector times between these two, just to show you where it is that the BMW is losing out to the GT. And I can tell you now, the BMW is probably the best all-round car, but certainly isn't the best car in any one particular part of the track. So Ron's on the lights there, but Jager will get out of the way. He is an awesome participant in our category, so he gives them plenty of room there. I'm not sure whether or not he saw Brett. Yes, he did. Fantastic driving yet again from Jager Pascoe in letting these guys go through, who he is 6th outright in class in one of the best looking cars on the field. Let us know which car you reckon's has the best looking livery as well. Might do a little bit of a vote towards the end of the season to see who the fan favourite is in terms of the best livery on the track. So just jumped on board in the small screen with the BMW of... Oh, no, is this going to get through? Sorry, I was just distracted by the battle there, but I think that Matt Dowse is going to let these guys through. Yeah, he is. So that's good driving there. He's still got Brett Douglas coming up behind him as well. There's a lot going on the screen there. Brett's on the headlights, just letting him know, but he will get through here down under brakes as well. So Matt Dowse, this is his first race with us this week, and doing a fantastic job as well. So we love the love the new participants coming into the series, and we love it even more when they're up to speed straight away, and it means that we are able to bring you good quality racing without it impeded by people inadvertently potentially getting in the way. While we've been watching that other battle, I've just noticed as well that Jesse Butler's got through back into second place, so we've missed that there beforehand. So sorry about that. There you go, Tyler. Jesse back up into second outright in this, and just half a second behind is Chris Purnell continuing to apply the pressure. So this race is really closing up. Braden Nash, we haven't covered him very much because he's right out in front and there's been far too many interesting battles going on behind him, but he certainly has control of the race at this point in time. He is 40 seconds up the road from Jesse Butler in second and Chris Purnell in third. With this other battle pack in the main screen here, the Polito Douglas Sweeney battle raging on as well. So we'll just focus that small screen there on the Butler Porsche, just so that you guys can keep informed on that battle. I've got it on the screen above me as well, so I'll keep trying. If only I could go cross-eyed, but not cross-eyed. Have one eye pointing upward and one eye pointing downwards. Probably wouldn't be great for my eyes, but I'd be able to bring you the information from both screens. But unfortunately, I'm not that good. Maybe turn my head sideways and get it in my peripheral vision. Yes, Purnell's closed right back up on the back of the Butler Porsche again through that end of that straight there as he comes around, and I can tell you now he'll be on the headlights. We're going to get a flash. No, he's not going to give him the flash I thought he might do. But getting a little bit of airtime, these Virtual Motorsport Mentor GT Fords, as they are both closing up on their respective rivals in this series. This battle between Polito and Douglas has been raging right from last week all the way through this week, as the finish of that race was very close. And of course, these two in the inset window, Butler and Purnell, going at it for an hour and a half straight with less than half a second gap between them with no paint traded. So certainly master craftsmen, and as I've said a couple of times now, it's a real privilege to be able to bring such fantastic close racing to you all on our channel. We are very lucky to have the quality of drivers that we've got, bringing you racing that is this close. It's a pity Brock Schaefer, another fantastically quick driver who's normally in this series, unfortunately busy at work at the moment and not able to get back in to keep participating. He is Braden Nash's partner in crime in the Phoenix window tinting sister car. So if he was here, my goodness, this would be difficult to keep up with. As it looks like Purnell's had a small off there as well. So he has dropped back and the gap has opened up. So maybe making a small mistake there, or potentially the tyres of the Ford going off a little bit as we enter the last sort of 26 minutes. I've called it again, the last 30 minutes of the race. Strange things start to happen, and we have had Purnell there drop off the back of the Butler Porsche. So Jesse getting a little bit of clean air, and let's see how he goes to just finish this race out nice and strong. You can see there on the gap, the screen on the gap there. Ugh. Can't even talk anymore. You can see the gap on the screen there between the Porsche of Butler and the Ford of Purnell as Purnell comes around the bend as Jesse finishes getting through it. So this battle with Ron Polito, though, as we've got Brett Douglas pulling up alongside him through turn one, not quite getting the job done there. These two will keep racing. Ron's only been doing this a couple of months, he tells us, and you certainly couldn't tell. He looks like he's been doing it for years. So this battle here, I'm glad we're focusing on it, and we'll keep on it, as well as the Polito Brothers Racing car of Ron Polito defends for position 4 in our GTE category. So we'll leave that one on the main screen. I'm just going to flick the small screen back to the GT3 battle that is going on here. We've got Ryan Porter and we've got Brad Klink, who are within a second of one another, as you can see there, Douglas looking for a way around this one as the lap traffic gets out of the way. Great driving there from the Joshua Maynard Mercedes-Benz, so well done for you as these guys continue to try and race. I think Douglas is looking for the inside there, couldn't quite make his way through as the Polito car stays on track, and they continue to sit in the draft. The strength of the GT sitting behind the M8 GTE car as it literally punches a hole in the air with its wide body that it has. I've seen one of these in real life, and they literally are a fantastic looking car, but they're massive as well. It feels like you're in a limo getting around in it. The interior of the cabin's just huge. So if you ever get a chance to have a look at one, jump in one, do so, and you'll see what I mean. But we'll just see if Douglas can get the job done here. Really good defending by Polito in last week's race to hold him out and maintain that what was a third position last week for Polito, his first finish on the grid. But Douglas certainly trying to get fourth position here and look for a pass. And this is going to play right into Sweeney's hand. As you can see, he's closed up on the back of these two as well. So obviously in the battle, when it's tight like this, the lap times tend to drop off a bit. And Sweeney has been doing laps that, well, his last lap in particular was 2 seconds faster than this this pack here, as we have the car of Michael Spithill just get out of the way there of these three that are racing. So Sweeney there trying to jump onto the back of this pack. He will pull up onto the back of Douglas, and again, this is going to be on. One of my favourite terms, on like Donkey Kong, it's going to happen. There's going to be barrels thrown, and there's going to be ladders climbed, but let's see who actually manages to make it through to the end. We've got 22 minutes to go, so at race pace looking at around about 11 laps left. Remember, it's a time certain race, so at 2 hours the flag will drop, the white flag will drop, and that will be our last lap of the race. So these guys will be able to keep it together and push through to the end. Also, just keeping an eye on the Purnell and Butler battle. We've got that gap there back down to about 1.5 seconds. So the lead of the race is not in contention at this point in time. Braden Nash 47 seconds clear out in front. As this is an interesting one. This may not work. He's going to go around the outside, is he? No, he hasn't managed to quite do it. Polito's held it on the inside there. No, and Douglas, I think, is going to get it done. Yes, he does. So that's a good move by him around the outside into then the inside line for the next corner and managing to finish that move off. So Brett Douglas up into fourth, Ron Polito dropping down into fifth place as these three continue to battle out for fourth, fifth and sixth outright in the GTE category, as well as obviously the field itself. So you can see, though, the battle's remaining. You've got 0.5 second covering 3 cars, and we are 1 hour 40 into this one. So great close racing from all of these guys to make this happen for us. So Douglas is stretching the legs on the Ford now, trying to make a gap to give himself some breathing space, as Sweeney is now hot on the back of Polito in that M8. So it's M8 versus M8. You could even say mate versus mate, but I don't think that that is the case when it comes to the racetrack. Competitors fierce, but certainly friendly outside of this on the practice track. So albeit Douglas is trying to pull away, he actually isn't achieving that at the moment, with Polito doing the fastest lap out of this pack on the last lap. So benefiting a little bit from the draft there. Keeping an eye on the GT3 battle, where Ryan Porter has closed right up on the back of Brad Klink. And Porter there trying to take underneath down for the lead of the GT3s and couldn't quite get it done as they head back out onto the front straight of Silverstone here. Sorry, I'm a little bit lost in my bearings now on the back straight there. They will Ferrari will definitely pull that up a bit better. That Merc's a little bit understeery. It can be at times with such a long nose and all the weight in that, as Sweeney's managed to pull up on the back of Polito there. What's going on with that? We missed that one there. He didn't come off the track, but he has slowed right down. So I'm not sure what the deal is there. We didn't see anything. If you were watching and you saw it, maybe you can let us know what happened. We've had no notifications on our events register there. Polito just running a little bit wide. I don't know if maybe he's having a problem with his technology or what the case might be, but that is unfortunate. Ron Polito has dropped another place after such a strong race today as well. So that's the Douglas Sweeney battle now that's going to open itself up. We've got 19 minutes to go. We've just ticked over 19 minutes to go in the race. And that battle there has closed itself right up. Just trying to see what the gap is there between the Butler-Purnell car. It's popped out to 6 seconds now, so Jesse has set off into the distance to try and make sure he stays on second on the podium there, second step on the podium. So I don't know if the Ford's tyres are dropping off a little bit there for Purnell or what the case might be. And Butler right in the middle of this challenge for the GT3 lead as well. So he'll do his best not to get in their way, to let that battle continue, and we'll keep following that a little bit on the smaller screen as this Douglas Sweeney battle has come in. You can see there that Sweeney is closed right up on the back as well. Flashing headlights from Jesse just to try and make his way through there, and he will get through. Sorry about the audio there. That I will fix for next week. Yeah, you can see there that Butler's just flashing the headlights just to make his way through that battle pack, which hopefully hasn't affected the Porter battle clink making room too. So well done to him leading the GT3 category. He will have Chris Purnell closing in on him shortly. You can see him there with his lights on in the background. A little bit of a lock-up there for Brett Douglas as he comes under pressure from Jaden Sweeney. So these two teaming up for the Spa 24-hour event next weekend. So both very consistent, close races in terms of lap times as well. With Sweeney actually having the fastest last lap and the fastest lap of the race, but only just here. Well done, TK, on moving aside to let this battle continue. We love it. Thank you very much, and we get to keep going. Any chance we can do split timings, Reese Dodd? Thank you. In terms of split timings, yes, we can. We will do that. The time delta there. If that was what you were looking for. We don't have a great delta overlay to run. We can run the sectors. We can run your lap times if you want to see that as well. That's that there if you're looking for the split. And thanks again for the shout out for Radelaide. We were talking about the Fringe Festival just before and the V8 Supercar event that you guys put on over there, which is a fantastic thing to participate in and come and watch. Wineries and all the other awesome bits that make Adelaide what Adelaide is. 10 minutes from everywhere in Adelaide except for the Bend Motorsport Park. That's not 10 minutes, that's like 10 hours away, or it feels like that when you catch a bus out there. Anyway, on we go. So Sweeney's just dropped a little bit of time there as they come around. He's just pushed that back out to about a second. The Clink-Porter battle is still about a second. So we've got battles right throughout the field, actually. Got to remember that this is the fourth time all these guys have raced on the track together, so I think they've actually done a fantastic job for us in keeping the racing close. And albeit we've had a couple of small instances, we haven't had too many bad ones tonight, which has been good. It hasn't really affected the results of the race, so hopefully we can continue that through to the end with 15 minutes to go, so that these guys can bring home some well-deserved results with Nash well out in front. He's actually led from the start of the race in the Phoenix window tinting Porsche. Jesse Butler in second, who has opened up a 5-second gap over Chris Purnell in third. And we then have Chris Purnell's just going through there on the Clink. Just making his way through there. Yep, on the Clink Ferrari in third. Douglas in fourth, hotly pursued by Sweeney, who is doing a fantastic job to keep the pressure on Douglas there. Polito in sixth, with Tomo in seventh, Wade Reynolds in eighth, and Phil Polito in ninth. As you said, we've got Clink and Porter leading the GTE battle, and that battle is still hotly contested with Ryan Porter. TK in third, Pasco in fourth, Doust on debut in fifth, O'Grady on debut as well in sixth. This is in the GTE category. Dave Johnson seventh, Patterson eighth, Maynard ninth, Rooney 10th, Spithill 11th, with Murray Westbeck and Reece Ashmore out of the race. Reece has jumped in the chat as well, so thanks for still participating in the event. 13 minutes to go, and I feel like I have not taken a breath, and it's probably because I haven't. So what we might do is, just so I can have that very quick breather, is jump on board with Brett Douglas here in cockpit view and just have a look at his race craft from inside the car. So I'm going to not talk for a minute and just let you enjoy watching Brett do what he does. Alright, so we've just jumped back on board with this battle here. The Matty Doust and Jager Pascoe cars battling it out close together. Yeah, Doust's car just run a little bit wide there and dropped a couple of places. So in the small window there you can just see the battle that is still raging on for 4th and 5th between Sweeney and Brett Douglas, but we just noticed this one's getting kind of close, as is this battle here between Clink and Porter for the lead of the GT3 class. So We've got well and truly less than a second between these two cars. So this is going to go right to the wire, and the Sweeney Douglas battle likewise. So we'll just stay focused on these. We will bring you the final lap of our race leader at this point in time, Braden Nash, who is doing a good job at getting himself through this one. The closeness of the racing's been brilliant right throughout the entire race, which has helped us keep entertained and helped us to keep bringing you the good battles and things that have been going on. So yeah, thankful for that. So 8.5 minutes to go. Porter won't want to leave it too much longer if he is going to make a move on the Clink Ferrari here. So he'll be trying to use the draft just to close up the gap. The Sweeney Douglas battle still under a second there. There's a little bit of lap traffic getting in the way there of Clink. Has allowed Porter just to close up on the back of him a little bit. They did get out of the way though, so that hasn't affected him too badly. So looking at Porter here, trying to make a move around the outside. He'll probably try and do the switchback here if he can. He's not going to be able to get it done though. He wasn't quite close enough. Still just harassing the back of the Clink Ferrari there. So it's going to stay tight here. Less than half a second between these two cars. Means that Porter will be getting the draft assistances down this straight. So just whether or not he can close up far enough onto the back of that Ferrari to try and make a passing move into the this part of the track here. The Ferrari, again, a good all-rounder, very strong across the different tracks that we're running here. So Silverstone no different in that respect for these two drivers. So we haven't seen, have we? Yeah, we have had 1-1-2 finish with the Phoenix window guys, so window tinting guys, so that wouldn't be our first, but it'd be amazing to see the three Bow Repairs cars all up there on the podium together. As customary at the end of the race, there'll be the burnouts from the guys. They'll jump out and do a little bit of an expression session after the race, so stick around to watch a little bit of that, and we'll grab the winners of the two classes in for a little bit of a chat and just see how they enjoyed the race. A little bit of a wild start there, so I'm expecting particularly TK, who's done a fantastic job, to make his way back up into third place after rolling on the start line. So obviously that's where the iRacing provides that little bit of advantage. In real life that wouldn't help you at all. To enable him to get back to the pit lane here. We just got Jaden Sweeney just trying to make his way around a slower car. I thought he probably would have rolled out of the throttle a little bit there. He actually has done. Well done, and let Sweeney continue to try and chase down Douglas. He's running out of laps with, I reckon, probably 3 laps to go in this one before the flag falls. So both of our pursuing drivers in the battles that we're following potentially running out of laps to do anything. Under half a second in both battles. You can see on both screens both pairs of drivers are right on the tail of the car they are pursuing. So Mercedes of Porter just closing up a little bit again there under brakes, showing its strength of the Mercedes. And Clink will pull away a little bit here again, back down onto the old main straight, or actually the new straight I should say, as they go around to complete another lap. And I was right the first time, it was the old pit lane, so They've still got about half a lap to go, these two, and they will then probably only have 2 more laps remaining to complete the 2-hour race at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport. Jaden Sweeney is still attempting to close up onto the back of Brett Douglas, who skipped away ever so slightly this lap, doing a little bit slight quicker lap than Jaden Sweeney has. So again, lap traffic probably contributing to that a little bit, but these guys doing a fantastic job. And again, the lap car's just jumping out of the way so these guys can continue their battle. So hopefully see if Douglas or Sweeney are going to bring home 4th place. Our grid aside of any issues is set at the front there with Nash leading the race. Jesse Butler 2nd, Chris Purnell 3rd. We've got Douglas 4th and Sweeney 5th in this little battle we're covering here. Ron Polito's still doing a fantastic job for the day. Oh no, we've had a big lose there for Ryan Porter. He has crashed. And he will have to get the car back out onto track and see if he can save 2nd place there. He's a fair way in front of TK, and he has, so he will manage that through to the end. I would think with only 3.5 minutes to go, he's got about a lap and a half to complete, and he will still finish the race in 2nd place, being 50 seconds ahead of TK in 3rd. So he's just going to have to manage that around. Obviously pushing as hard as he could to try and take the win there, but unfortunately not paying off for him. So just quickly jump on board with this battle here. We'll get the leader up in the small camera window there. So just in the small window there, you've got Braden Nash, who is leading this race and has done basically from the start. It is a masterful display from him. He is, wow, over half a lap in front of the field, 52 seconds in front of the next closest car. So a massive gap for him back to 2nd place. Just making his way around would be what will start. He's probably got 2 laps to go. So this one, and then get the white flag while he'll be on the next lap around to bring home. It'll be his 2nd win in this category in that amazingly presented Phoenix window tinting car. You can see the Simrigs logo there across the top of the windscreen. Our official windscreen sponsor for this first season of the Australian Endurance Esports Championship. So we thank them for jumping on board. We are having a 2nd season, so if you are interested in joining, do jump on our website, fgmecast.com, and you can apply for any of the race seasons we've got coming up, and do follow us on our socials, because we've got more and more eCast coverage of a whole heap of different things coming up for you in the future as we expand our offering to you. So we've got Douglas and Sweeney just coming through on the damaged Ryan Porter car there. He has kept going and will take on 2nd place. Yeah, absolutely. Jesse's done a fantastic job. He was heavy under pressure there for a long part of the race, Brett, and did a fantastic job to keep composed and get out into 2nd place ahead of Chris Purnell in 3rd. Those two having another fantastic battle early on in the race. We'll bring you some highlights of that throughout the, well, there's not much of the week left, but certainly up on our Twitter and, our Twitch and Facebook channels, we will have some highlights from tonight's race to bring you. But Jesse driving supremely again tonight as he looks set to take home 2nd place. So we will have one more lap with Braden Nash going around, and he will start what will be the final lap of this 2-hour enduro at Silverstone. And he has put on a masterful display here with the fastest lap of the race by nearly 1 second in that Porsche, and has led it from start to finish for us here, so we'll give him the just deserved airtime that a performance of that magnitude commands. And in the window there, we've just still got that battle of Sweeney and Douglas, which is our closest battle in the remainder of the pack. So I think Sweeney's too far away now to probably do anything about that with Brett there, but he's certainly done well to manage his race into fourth, Brett, and Jaden into fifth. So, and there it is. That is the win for Braden Nash, who takes out his second race win in this series. That will help in his points chase, probably move him back up into third. He's going to put on a show here, I imagine, for us. That car basically can just be put straight back onto the truck and brought around for the next event. So he's done a fantastic job, and well done on your second win, our first multiple race winner ever in the eCast series, and a deserved winner as well. As I said, masterclass with a lap record and the fastest lap of the race, I should say, and leading from start to finish. So well done to Jesse. To Braden, and to Jesse as well, and to Chris Purnell, who has finished third. So he will maintain his lead at the top of the table, but it will close down to 1 point, I believe, from Jesse Butler. So next week's race at Spa becomes even more important for the lead of this championship. As we're seeing on the screen in the inset there, Brett Douglas still in front of Jaden Sweeney. That gap is down to under half a second here. I'm not sure that there's going to be any time for Jaden to get anything done as they come into the right-hander before they head on to the last part of this back straight. BMW right on the back of Brett there as they go into the braking zone. I don't think Jaden's going to be able to do anything, but these two have run a fantastic race together, and will bring that home with a fourth place for Douglas and a fifth place for Jaden Sweeney. So a great race, guys. Well driven. I'm sure there will be some more burnouts. Jaden Sweeney loves a good burnout. Plenty of smoke on the track there, as you can see from our race leader, really enjoying it. I think we've got Jesse Butler there, yeah, look at that. And we've got Brad Klink getting into it as well, who's taken out the GT3 class. There's lots of cars going anywhere. Jesse Butler for the Mark 1 Esports team has done a great job. What about Chris Purnell? No, he has jumped off track, so he's not putting on a show for us tonight. And so have the other guys there. So that's it for that race. We'll just jump on board with the interviews with our winning race drivers. So I'll just see if they're available yet when we jump into the room. Just waiting for the drivers to pop back in there. TK, who finished third, is in that room. So we'll just wait for the drivers to pop in. Hopefully we can grab a few of them for the end of the race. Got Braden, we'll just bring him into the room. G'day Braden, well done on another fantastic race, mate. You showed us a masterclass, not only of the burnout at the end there, but a first to finish from start to end, and fastest lap of the race as well, mate. Congratulations. Braden's just got himself on mute there. We'll get the rest of our GTE grid in. Chris Purnell and Jesse Butler. Guys, again, what a show to leave me breathless once again. You two just seem to put it on week in, week out. Thank you very much for the show. How have you found, or how'd you find the race overall?
Yeah, I actually done limited practice this week, so that's a bit of an alternate, especially with the post update. But no, it was good. The first stint there, kind of got a bit of a gap there with Chris, and as he either the tires started going off or and just lap cars as well, and noticed that he went in a lap early. So once he come out, only a couple, I think 1 or 2 seconds behind him, I knew I had to save at least a leader in that last stint. Um, so once I just let him go and I try to push him, trying to get him to use as much fuel as I could with him and save a bit of mine. But it was great racing with Chris once again. Braden on an absolute planet of your own. Well done, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Um, yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my team, Mac One, for giving me a hand for the previous couple of races and whatnot. So thanks, guys.
And yeah, Braden, you had yourself on mute just before there, mate. We're just saying what a masterclass, leading the entire race, basically off on your own, and fastest lap of the race as well, mate. First multiple race winner as well of the E Series. So congratulations, well done. Even without your partner in crime, Brock, there as well. That would have made for even more of a spectacle. Congratulations, though.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was a good race. Real long, but no, it was really nice leading it. Learning a bit. I got a new rig in the past week, so it was nice getting the hang of that. So yeah, a good night.
No, yeah, you did really well, and particularly with the lap traffic there. Chris, a third place mate, unfortunately, again a little bit affected by a little bit of the lap traffic there, but managed to get that back without too much damage, fortunately, and put on a good show for us with Jesse there. How did you find it other than that?
Yeah, it was all right, man. I was having a few issues with the rift tonight. I think it was due for an update, and it was sort of glitching at wrong points. But yeah, it is what it is. I probably didn't drive to my full potential either. So, both the boys drove awesome. So just happy to score some points at least and roll on to Spa next week.
Yeah, I think the lead now is down to 1 point, so Spa next week going to be critical. And I know plenty of the guys doing the 24-hour as well on Saturday, so I'm expecting some good times and certainly some close racing. Brad, congratulations on your win in the GT3 there. You were pushed right to the end by Ryan, who unfortunately had an off just at the end while he was catching or trying to get a pass on him. How did you find the race?
Yeah, thanks, mate. You had to work for it, that's for sure. Props to Ryan. I don't mean any disrespect at all about his driving previously, but man, he's upped his game. He's obviously been putting in some practice and that, and yeah, that was awesome. Just was completely in the like completely blind about how the tires would go with the update. The longest run I did on them was literally in qualifying, was about 4 or 5 laps. So I had no idea how they were going to go, and yeah, degradation's meant to be been reduced, but I think grip level's been reduced at the same time because it was pretty slippy out there, and almost a couple of traffic incidents almost cost me that, but luckily was still able to do it. We had a nice side-by-side moment there.
Yeah.
Towards the end, maybe defend around the outside. That was really good, and yeah, I just had eyes forward after that. Tried to just focus on what I was doing, and I didn't actually see what happened to Ryan. But just after a bit, I just saw that on the relative he'd dropped back. So
yeah, I think
it was
obviously
a good race, that's for sure.
Ryan can tell us, but I think the Merc might have lost its rear tyres towards the end there because it looked very slidey.
I'd believe it. I actually adjusted my TC setting, a little stronger TC towards the end there, but there was one lap where I actually went the other way. I forgot which way the setting was, so I went the wrong way.
Oh.
And then that's when Ryan was right on me.
Yep.
That's how he got on me because I went the wrong way on the setting, and then I was like, oh crap, put it back the other way, and then yeah, so that nearly cost me as well.
And Ryan, Brad won't have seen too much of the bad luck that you had probably in the first couple of rounds, mate. But you probably tonight delivered on what we expected that you could do as well. So it was good to see up the front there and battling it out, probably where you should be. So
yeah, thanks, Stuart. Yeah, it's finally good to get on the podium. Had a few unlucky results, and a few of the quicker guys coming in have just sort of pushed me back in the mid pack a little bit more. I wasn't too confident coming into this race, and after qualifying, I was a little bit off the pace. Qualified 5th, and those guys were a lot quicker than me, so I wasn't too confident. But after a bit of an accident at the start between a few of the front runners, and I think someone else had a bit of a spin. So it looked like from early on it was just going to be me and Brad slogging it out. Had a bit of a spin at one point there, but still just slogging away at him, and then took an early pit stop. Bit of a risk to try and jump him, and it did work. But then I had another bit of a spin as the tyres started to go.
Yep.
And then that's when the action started. You know, there's a bit of bit of traffic there. I saw Brad got held up a few times.
He did.
I felt bad. Like I didn't want to just make a dive bomb after he's just been held up. So wanted to make it a clean, fair driving. So, but yeah, it was really good racing. I made a move down the inside, but he did really well to stay on the outside until the chicane, and then had the inside, and I had the inside. I probably should have just got my elbows a little bit more out, but I thought I'll go again a bit further on. But credit to Brad. He was slogging away. It was just, it was a really mentally tough race. Just sitting like 1 second behind him for a long time was just, it was definitely difficult.
It was really good to watch because we had the dual screens going. We could keep a focus on both the close battles that were unfolding, and certainly the traffic I think did reasonably well given the track, and you guys certainly did well as well. So congratulations on your first podium. It's well deserved.
Cheers.
And TK, what a comeback, mate! You were the first driver to hit the tin lid and still make the podium at the end of the race. What happened at the start?
Honestly, I have no idea. I just think I got cleaned up by someone that lost it and ended up sliding across on my roof and out into the barriers. So not quite sure what happened there.
But you managed, fortunately, it was early enough in the race, obviously being on the first lap, for you to get back to the pits, stay on the lead lap, and get back out there and have a solid run for the rest of the race, which was great to see because you've also had a little bit of bad luck early on in the series with your failure of your equipment last week and that sort of stuff. So it's good to see you get a solid result that's definitely deserved as well.
No, definitely, it's good to get up there, and hopefully next week we can give Brad and Ryan a bit of a run and make it a three-way battle up the front, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it, and thanks for joining us from across the way as well. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, guys. That brings us to the end of this round 4 at Silverstone. So, as we've said before, we're headed off to Spa next week for a 2-hour, what will be probably a 2-hour preview to the 24-hour that's on the weekend. So, do join us. Do share our stream. We really appreciate the support that we've had so far in getting this up and running, and the comments throughout the night. And we will be back 7:10 next week for the next round of the Australian Endurance Esports Championship. We do have other things on our channel throughout the remainder of the week and into early next week. So if you're looking for something to watch, pop us on the TV, get around the radio and have a listen with the kids. But we'll certainly be back in front of you 7:10 next Thursday night for round 5 at Spa.
FGM eCast production. This championship was brought to you by Aftershock PC Australia, Razor, Simrigs.com, and Virtual Motorsport Mentor. The best way to support us is to follow our channels, get updates on our stream schedule, and exclusive teasers on upcoming events. To get involved as a racer or a sponsor, or to get your hands on some awesome merch, go to our website at www.fgmecast.com.